A Wider World is brought to you by FirstToServe.com, a provider of prosthetics, orthotics, and home medical equipment. FirstToServe.com, an online store to serve your home healthcare needs. GM Mobility will help you get there, now with the security of OnStar, providing services within the disabled community. The Paralyzed Veterans of America is an advocate for healthcare, research, and civil rights, serving veterans since 1946.
Life, freedom, independence. Each year, the Macomb-Oakland Regional Center helps 5,000 people with disabilities live in the community and realize their dreams.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Wider World, where we celebrate the abilities of all and the gifts that each of us brings to our part of the world. And come on out to support these fantastic athletes. Now, our last story takes us to an orthotics clinic, where we learn how empowering leg braces are for Bill, whose unpredictable falling spells had caused him to pull back on his activities. Let's take a look.
Meet Wendy Beattie. She works in the orthotics and prosthetics field. This is an interesting job and provides many challenges as well as rewards. Wendy told us more about this exciting career.
We will see babies as young as 3 months old, all the way up to, I have a woman coming in this afternoon for an orthosis for her leg. She had a stroke a number of years ago, and this will help her walk better, and she's got to be in her mid-80s. And we see everything in between. We see young athletes. I saw an athlete today with a knee injury for an orthosis. We see kids and adults for prosthetics. I mean, people who either have lost limbs, were born without limbs, or lost limbs from accidents or from diseases. So it really runs the gamut. And we see, again, everyone from newborns. We'll do harnessing for babies who have hip problems, you know, day after birth, all the way up to the extremely elderly.
Bill Burke is one of Wendy's patients. Orthotics has helped stabilize his mobility issues and given him the ability to live his life again. Wendy explains.
He's one of our absolute favorite patients. He's a lovely, lovely man, and very friendly, very funny, and young, which means close to my age. And all of a sudden, he started having problems with instability in his legs. His legs would give out on him. Originally, they thought it might be an anterior cruciate ligament, an ACL injury, which is a very common sports injury. But he didn't really present as though he just had an anterior cruciate ligament problem. And they've never really given us a good diagnosis for the weaknesses in his limbs, but it was quite progressive, and he was falling very frequently. And the most basic thing that we do as an orthotist is provide stability for somebody. So the first KAFOs, which are knee, ankle, foot orthoses, the way orthotics are named is for the joints that they cross. So a knee, ankle, foot orthosis would be an orthosis that comes up on the thigh, has knee joints, might have ankle joints, and would go inside the shoe. Okay, so the first ones we made for him were ones that when he stood up straight, they would lock. But the problem with walking with two locked knees is you'd have to walk like Frankenstein with the legs swinging out around you. So, and it's very hard on your back as well. And for a young guy, and this is 10 years ago, so we were all younger 10 years ago, for a young guy, if he's going to be walking like that for decades, I mean, what's going to do to his back? So we utilized joints that had knee flexion to them, so that the shock of walking would be transmitted into the joints of the knee brace rather than up through his back. So those were the first ones we made. And it would allow a little bit of knee flexion, but it wouldn't allow the knees to collapse, so he wouldn't fall down. And it was a godsend for him. I mean, all of a sudden, he could go to his daughter's softball games. He could work again because he wasn't falling on the floor. I mean, literally falling on the floor all the time. And then to sit down, he would release the locks and sit. So those were the first he wore, and they worked wonderfully for him. And then about 5 years ago, they came out with something called stance control knee orthoses. And what the stance control does is it allows the knee to bend when you want it to bend and to resist bending when you don't want it to bend. And that's something that's been available in prosthetics for decades. So the idea is when the patient has his weight on the leg will remain straight, so it won't collapse on him. But as he brings his weight forward over that foot, then the knee will bend so that he can walk naturally.
Bill's use of braces is a success. It helps him maneuver confidently, and he's able to get out and live life.
I went to the orthopedist a few times. They started me out with some knee braces, thinking it was an ACL or something. Then they're like, well, you need to be tested for multiple sclerosis, all that stuff. I did all the testing, nothing. And we've gone through, 7 or 8 different braces before we went to braces like these. It's great. I mean, I could stand, without. I feel comfortable walking. I'm pretty active. I like to go out and do things. I mean, I don't like to sit around and mope and groan about things. I like to watch my daughter play ball. She plays travel ball. She plays high school softball. We do all kinds of different activities. I mean, I like working on cars, having cars, yard work. I'm not one to sit around. I can't. I've tried. It's, when you first get injured, you're like, really? Wow, I got a vacation from work. That's good for about 6 days. After that, you're like, really? I gotta get to work. I gotta find something to do. I can't sit. And that's one of the reasons I have a problem with the braces sometimes is because I'm so active. They've gone through different styles because of it. Different hinges, tried all the different hinges because I'm active. They're like, well, most people aren't as active as you. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna let it get me down. If people want to get you down, that's on them. I mean, you can't be down. You gotta look at the positive side, really. I mean, what else are you gonna do? I mean, I like having fun. Everybody should enjoy what they've got. Life's short. I mean, we're only here for a little while. We rent these bodies there, it's a gift. Enjoy what you got. Have fun.
Sometimes a simple assist can change your world. Bill's doing great with his new braces, and we wish him all the best. Well, thanks for traveling our wider world with me today. Email me at access@awiderworld.com or join me on Facebook and let me know what's going on in your corner of the world. Check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/awiderworld and see some of your favorite stories from past seasons. Take good care of yourself. See you next week.
A Wider World is brought to you by FirstToServe.com, a provider of prosthetics, orthotics, and home medical